Welcome back to another episode of the Racing Records podcast. I'm Ryan Sharkey, and as usual, I'm joined by Dean Haggerty. We've got a special episode today as part of our fundraiser for the Irish Cancer Society, and we've decided to do a podcast marathon. We are so close to our goal of €500, and the link to the donation page is in the description below. Anyway, today's guest is a little bit different than our usual Racing World guests. This man is the Dundalk FC legend and the club's all-time leading goal scorer. It is, of course, Pat Hoban. Pat, welcome to our podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Cheers. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be on.
So I suppose the big issue in the world right now is the coronavirus. How are you personally and the club handling it as a whole right now?
Um, it is difficult. I'm not going to lie, but we're handling it quite well. Um, training 6 days a week out of the seven. On the only thing, it's on your own. Um, we train through a coaching app that the club set up last year for pre-season. So that's what we're kind of following now. The guidelines of Graham Norton, who's our fitness coach, who gives us different sessions every day. So we'll be doing 3 days running, 3 days home gym. So the home gyms are done with Zoom sessions, and the running sessions are all recorded on an app with the running app. So there's no hiding places, but they're coping quite well. The club have gone. I know that the club have put in a lot of guidelines within the training area in terms of all the COVID-19 NHS guidelines with all the hand sanitizers and stuff like that. So I know the club have done that, but unfortunately we have to wait till the 8th of June.
And is the 8th of June a definite return to action for the League of Ireland, or what's the story?
Well, from what I know, the 8th of June is for us to return back into small groups of training in force. So that's what's been put in place for us due to the FAI. They've put that in place, so we have to wait till the 8th of June to train in fours. The club are ready for that. To be honest, they've probably been ready for the last 2 weeks because they're prepared for Monday for us to be going back training in small groups of four, but it wasn't meant to be, so we have to wait till the 8th of June now.
And for yourself, is it far more difficult and a big change for you to be training by yourself?
Yeah, it's a massive change. You're used to going into training every day and seeing all, the group of lads having the crack, having the banter before training. You miss that quite a lot. And, you know, you miss that competitiveness as well. That's in training, and then leading up to games. There's more, you get more in games then also, competitive wise. So I'm really missing the competitiveness massively. So yeah, that's why I miss quite a lot. So it is difficult, but you have to just get on with it, and hopefully it gets back sooner rather than later.
If the season was to be scrapped, if things got worse, just how big of an effect would that be to the smaller club?
I think it'd be a huge effect. I think there'd be, if the league didn't start up again this year, we have to wait till basically next season. I think, to be honest, I think it won't be good for the league at all. It'll put the league back 10 years, in my opinion, maybe longer. There'll be a lot of cuts again, which probably will happen anyways. Um, but it definitely won't be good for the league. The league needs to get back up and running. We're the you could so-called say we're the front line in football for in Ireland, and we need to be playing. It's our profession. It's our jobs, and we take our job seriously. And the last thing we want is the league to be cut, because if that happens, then basically going to be out of a job until next season, and that could be what, January, when you're back. So it would not be ideal for clubs to wait for next year, in my opinion, and it would not be good for the league at all. I think it'll set it back massively.
And just to move on from the virus now, um, who would you say was your biggest football influence when you were growing up?
Oh, Jeannie, there's a few. When I was in secondary school, I had a teacher called, his name was Mr. Tor. Can't remember his first name now, so don't ask me that. His name was Mr. Tor, and he loved me anyway, even though I wasn't great in school. But in English class, I used to always, the odd time he'd put on George Best. So he used to have videos of George Best. So I used to love watching George Best. But if I was going to go for someone more modern, I would have said the likes of, I loved Ruud van Nistelrooy up top, loved him. Dwight York and Andy Cole, their partnership, I used to love watching them two together. But definitely Roy Keane. I loved watching Roy Keane. I loved everything about him, what he did for the team mentally, physically. His determination was second to none. And watching a guy who can lead a team like that, into battle really, is really impressive and definitely inspired me massively.
No fear or whatever. Just go straight
Yeah,
in. Proper leader,
proper leader, no fear. Always was never below 7 out of 10 in a game. He gave everything. For Manchester United especially, he gave everything. He gave his all, and that's the least you could expect out of professional footballers, for someone to give their all every game. And if you don't have a good game, at least you're giving your all, and you can see that within Roy. He'd drive others around him, and that's why he was so successful.
Yeah, and like yourself there, you've had spells at the likes of Bristol City, Oxford, Mansfield, and Grimsby. Do you think they helped you develop a bit more from the League of Ireland?
Well, when I went to Bristol City that time, that was in 2011, I think. That was, to be honest, it was a bit of a disaster, really. I learned a lot, got a lot of experience from going to Bristol City, but I never got to play, and the manager who signed me left after 2 weeks, and it was a bit of a downhill battle there, and uphill battle, I mean. And but I learned a lot. I was getting to train with the likes of David James, getting to score goals past him. But I was a centre midfielder back then. I didn't really know my position. I used to play in a couple of positions. So when I came back to Ireland that year, back to Merview, I kind of nailed myself as number 9, and then that's where I went from there. And my experience over in the UK after my first Dundalk spell, it was good and bad. A lot of highs and lows, a lot of injuries, a lot, struggling to get match fitness. It was because coming back too quick from injuries and then being out for even longer. And it was then when I was thrown in the deep end to play games, it was very hard to get to the match fitness that I wanted to. And basically what happens in the UK is if you're not doing it, they're going to get other players in, and that's what happened. But I learned a lot from it, how ruthless it was. It grew me as a person, not in football terms, I don't think as much, but it grew me as a person. Mentally got me mentally tougher. For the outcomes that I faced when I was over there, got me definitely mentally tougher. And I came back. I think I came back a different animal from the UK that time, just because mentally, and I grew a lot in that way.
Would you say there's a big difference ability-wise and class from the UK and the League of Ireland?
That's a tough question because the styles of football are totally different. Playing the lower leagues, it's not nice at all. You could have maybe 5 teams who will play a bit of ball, but then you have the rest who kind of play for final third football, and it's difficult to play against. It's difficult to be in a team. I found it very difficult to be at Mansfield when Adam Murray left as our manager, because I just found that we were just lumping the ball and you're just chasing after a ball, and there was no possession, or technically wasn't really great to watch. But they're all athletes over there. That's it. That's what you could say about them. They're all athletes. And the difference, I'd say, I think a couple of our clubs could definitely hold their own in definitely top of League One, maybe Championship. But obviously you need to have a bigger squad if you're going to go into those leagues, because the squads are massive. You're talking four in the striker's position. You're talking having 2 of every centre half, right full, left full, centre mid, you name it. So you have a bigger squad because there's that many games. It's very demanding. That's why I say about the leagues over there. It's very demanding. So it's just a ruthless game over there. That's just the bottom line. If you don't do it in 3 games, you're whipped, and you might not see football. You might only see 10, 15 minutes then for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and all of a sudden you're trying to, build match fitness by training, which is literally impossible, and you're just, set back, I suppose. And I found when I came back to Ireland, Stephen was giving me that run of games again, and all of a sudden I was getting match fitter and I felt better, and things kind of went from there. But it's hard to differentiate between the difference, because in our league there is a bit of a gap in our league, and you can say us Rovers and Derry and the likes of Bowes like to play decent football, and then others they're very hard to play against, very hard to break down and stuff like that. So there is a wee bit of a gap in terms of levels in our league, but it is still difficult to win our league.
Yeah, and you mentioned coming back to Dundalk there. When you were coming back to Ireland, did you think at any point maybe I don't want to go to Dundalk, that I want to try something new, or was your heart just set on coming back to Dundalk?
To be honest, my heart was set on coming back. I went through enough over there to be I kind of just went, you know what, I just need to come back. I just need to start playing football. I need to start get going again. I had a couple of clubs I could have signed for over in the UK, and I actually was about to sign for Dundalk in the summer as well, and there was a couple of other clubs, and then I was trained away by myself because I was currently out without a club. I think it was in June or July, start of July or something, and I ended up doing my own knee. I done a bucket handle tear in my medial meniscus on my left knee, and basically that set me back. I needed surgery, so that set me back about 2 months, 3 months with surgery, and then all the rehab and stuff with that. So it set me back a while. So then I decided, basically no clubs would touch me in the UK basically at that time. And I know Stephen was trying to get me back and all, but I just wanted to get the surgery done and come back fit instead of coming back injured. It wouldn't have been right in my eyes. And I got that sorted. And then I had a couple of offers again, but I was like, no, I'm not going to play in conference. I don't really fancy it. And I'm not going to play for a lower League 2 team either. I don't really fancy that either. So I wanted to come back to prove myself, to prove the doubters all wrong over again. And, I'd like to think I'd done that. My first season, I came back with a determination and a bit between my teeth to win everything possible and basically take the title back off Cork as well. I was watching the boys over the years, and especially the year before I came, that they won the double, and it was, to be honest, it was even sickening for me to watch. I didn't like it, seeing the lads go through that with the pain of losing even in the FA Cup final. So I was like, yeah, I want to come back. I want to prove people wrong, and I think I've done that.
Yeah, you definitely did that. And you mentioned Stephen there. Stephen brought you to the club in
2013, yeah.
And what was he like as a manager? Obviously, he had a big influence on you.
Oh, he's a massive influence in my career. Stephen, I scored, I think it was 12 or 13 goals from our view, playing as number 9. We were a part-time side playing in the first division. Like, we weren't getting paid or nothing. And Stephen picked me up from watching a game against Salt Hill, and to be honest, I was terrible that day. I was pure shite. The game was terrible. It was 0-0, but I heard he was there, and I think he's seen a game when we played Derry in the FAI Cup, and Derry absolutely pummeled us. I think it was like 6-1, 7-1. But I scored that day. I scored a cracker that day, and when I got the call from him, I was like 1,000,000% I want to sign for him. I knew he was good with young players, and his eye for a young player was just unbelievable. His eye for a player in general was unbelievable. And playing underneath Stephen for 4 years of my career, I learned a lot from him, how good he was. Just getting the best out of players, letting them play with freedom, never really. He'd get on you at the odd time, like to kind of push you, but what he was very good at was just literally letting you go out, play with freedom. Doesn't care about the opposition, regardless who he is playing. He just lets you go out and express yourself on the ball. Always wanted to play. Doesn't like really hoofing it long unless it's, that's plan B really, but always wants to stick to plan A, play. And you can just tell from the career he had at Dundalk, how well that worked out for him with getting talent behind it as well. He's just an unbelievable manager.
And obviously he's with the Irish team now. I've seen your name getting thrown around a lot for a spot in the national team, and we've seen that the league is getting a lot more recognition by Irish managers of late. Do you think that you might get a call up in the near future?
It's very hard to tell. To be honest, I thought the year when I came back and I think I was on 20 odd goals for Dundalk. And Martin O'Neill was in charge. I honestly thought I was going to get a cap then. I really believed I was going to get a cap. There's quite a bit of a push for it online. Not much so on the papers, but online, I had 19 goals scored before the break. Shawnee Maguire scored 20 before he left. I scored 29 league goals that season, 32 overall, and I thought I was going to get a cap because, they were struggling with strikers. They didn't really have anyone, but it wasn't meant to be. With Stephen in charge, nothing's a given. You have to perform whatever games. Hopefully we've games now to perform for him to watch, and you have to, keep performing really well at a high level. Hopefully do well in Europe, and you just never know. Stephen's a manager who will pick something on performance and what he thinks is the best team to win games of football for in his situation. So you never know. Hopefully, I'm still, I'm 28 now, so I'm still holding on. Hopefully, I can get a cap or a few one day. I never got a cap for Ireland before in my life, and it would be a pleasure to get one. So, if I keep working hard, you never know.
Yeah, and hopefully that will come. You weren't at Dundalk for the incredible European run, but the squad has been getting better since that. Do you see Dundalk getting to the group stages of Europe again?
I don't see why not. I think that's what we all want at the club, as players, as staff, as as a whole for Dundalk. That's what we want. We're working towards it. We fell a bit short last year. I think we got a bit unlucky, to be honest, with draws. We probably got the two toughest teams possible. Even our first game against Riga was a very difficult game, and we kind of got through that with the skin of our teeth. And game Karabag possibly was the worst draw you could have got, and we held our own at home, but it was very difficult away. And then Bratislava, you seen what these clubs went on and done then after that. They got to the group stage of Europa. But I think with the current team we have now, and hopefully we can get back to playing games very soon and get back training very soon. And I think with the team we have now, I don't see why not we can't.
Pat, being a Galway native, have you ever been around the horse racing festival over there? Or
Yes, yeah, I've been to quite a few. My first one was when I was 16, dressed up in the suit on Ladies' Day. Enjoyed it. Didn't have much money on me, to be honest with you, but I remember winning one horse. Can't remember the name, but it was about 8-1, and I had a fiver on it, and it won. And I said that was me for the day now because I didn't want to lose any more money, because I lost quite a bit before that.
With this pandemic ongoing and the festival, obviously with the rest of racing as well being behind closed doors, it'll have a massive impact on Galway itself for the tourism, especially.
Yeah, massively. I think Galway, unfortunately, is going to be hit huge, because I think a lot of their revenue coming into Galway is 48%, of tourism, and that's going to be hit massively, unfortunately. So I can see my county and my native people, in for a tough ride for a while, which is obviously unfortunate, but there's nothing we can really do about it. It's going to be very difficult to watch anything behind closed doors. It was quite difficult, to be honest, to watch the German league at the weekend behind closed doors. It just didn't feel right. It felt a bit dead. It felt like a friendly. It felt like playing a pre-season game really, and no player. If you ask any player, none of them would ever want to play behind closed doors. But it's just the way we have to live at the time being to get things done. And for Galway, it'll be a massive hit with the races not being on. It's a huge week for Galway, and it's just there's nothing really we can do about it.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate the way everything is planned out.
Yeah, definitely.
League top goal scorer in the League of Ireland, Pat. That's definitely a massive achievement. Is it something that you set out for at the start of each season? Do you set yourself a goal of trying to certain amount of goals, and is it hard to get that target?
So the first year I came back, me and the physio, because I was injured when I came back as well, I pulled my quad, so I was behind in pre-season, and he was asking me my goals, like what's my goals for the season. And to be honest, I didn't really have one. My main one was like, I want to prove people wrong. I want to prove that I can still do it, and I'll show them that I can still do it. And he's like, I think you need to have a target in mind. So our target was 24 goals overall for that season, and I had that beaten in I think it was August. I think I had that 24 goal tally beaten. I think it was August or September, start of September. And last year I set one for me, and it was always going to be very hard to do what I did the previous year. But I didn't beat it. I wanted 20 league goals, and I didn't beat it, and I only got 13, and I had 20 overall. But my goals from the year before that were turned into assists, because I had 15 assists last year. But this year, for the start of the season, I set myself a target of trying to beat my record of 29 league goals, and which was also going to be very hard to do, but it was a target I set, and it was a very tough one. And I started so well. I was like 5 out of 5, and I was, I could feel it. I was feeling very sharp. Probably as fish as I've ever been in my career. And I've been trying to work on losing a bit of muscle, and because I thought I was just carrying that small bit too much. I weigh about my first year when I came back to Dundalk, I weighed about 92.5 kg, and I was down to 89.5, and that's probably the lowest I've been since I was 20. So I was doing everything in my power, trying to, be that bit sharper, and not trying to, carry that, more muscle for my, for general play. I want to be that bit sharper and still be strong enough to hold up the ball for the team and do my job for the team. And, I felt like I was definitely on track to beat that record, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen this year. So let's hope I can try and, do it next year.
Yeah, definitely. Pat, do you think that the likes of RTE and Air Sports could do a wee bit more for the League of Ireland? Like the likes of yourselves there have really set the Irish League or the League of Ireland out there with the European runs there for the last couple of years. Do you think RT and Air Sports could maybe get on board and try and schedule 1 or 2 a month live games? I know RT has
1 million percent.
It would be a massive help for not only the likes of yourselves, they're getting more recognition that is deserved for the work that goes on, but for the smaller clubs and the league, it would give them a wee bit of revenue.
Yeah, 1 million percent. I think it's something that definitely needs to be looked at. It's I've been saying it for years. Like, I don't see why can't we have a game at least once a week on? We play Fridays, so why can't I have a game on once a week, regardless if that's Air or RTE? I think there could be a lot more done for the league. Even for our underage football as well, to be honest. We should be able to produce a lot of young talent in our country, and not let them go across the water, and try and get them through the clubs. I know they make money on the players going over, but try and keep these players in the country and develop them in our country to make our league even better and better and better all the time. And it's something that just doesn't happen, and we definitely don't get the exposure we deserve. The got to host that game, RTE, of us and Rovers, and to be honest, I didn't think we even played well that day, but it was a cracker of a game for everyone else, and we lost 3-2. And that's the kind of games that can be delivered in our league, and the only way you're going to get that is if you keep putting them on TV. Simple as.
Yeah, exactly. It lets the rest, well, it gets it out there that the quality. I think that game was not the game where there was an absolute screamer scored by one of the Rovers
there
players.
was, to be fair, there was a good few good goals scored that day, but Jordan's goal was an absolute screamer. Screamer. We worked on that corner the day before because we knew they left that kind of space there, and to be honest, he was meant to fucking head the thing. He's meant to head it, and somehow we got his leg up that high. I just never seen anything like before in my life.
That was an
I just
unbelievable
remember
strike.
flying into the net, and I was like, "What just happened? Like, is this real? Am I in a dream or something?"
It was an
crazy.
Unbelievable strike, no? An unbelievable
It was
strike.
unbelievable, yeah. But definitely, I think they can definitely do a lot more for the league. It helps everyone. It puts our league out there, even in our own country. There'll be people in our own country that don't believe in the league, and it might increase, them to come to more games and see that there is a lot of talent in our league, and that, with a lot of players in the last couple of years who had to go over across the water then to get into the Irish team, like your Sean Maguire, your Darrell Horgan, Andy Boyle, players like that who had to go over across the water to get into the international team. I don't see why not they can't do it from our league. Jack has done it, but there's definitely a lot of other players that can do it. I'd have a few in mind who could do it, and I don't see why not.
Yeah, and with Stephen Kenny now in charge, you would imagine that nobody knows the League of Ireland as well as Stephen Kenny, and you would hope that he will definitely be watching. And
he would judge. He would, from what I think, he would probably judge it on the player, not the so-called, what people think the standard the league is.
Yeah, and I think that could be good for
the quality of the player,
for the national team as well as the league, because going to the national games for a while, like we went near enough every home game, and for a while you're thinking, I'm based in Donegal, and it's just right beside Derry, and you're thinking the trek to Dublin to watch bad football is it worth it? Like, you're taking a day off work, or you're going down for a birthday, or it's always.
To be honest, I'd rather watch Ireland lose 2-1, 3-1, or 3-2, and if they played the right way. And that's the way I always thought. We should be playing football in the right way, not just running around, high press, and our work rate was really good. But you need to be technically good on the ball in international football. If you don't have the ball, you're going to get dominated. And that's why I think it's good having Stephen in there, because he will try to get them playing the right way, I'm sure. He's done it wherever else he's went to, especially at Dundalk. You've seen in Europe, clubs who had 20 times, 30 times, 50 times budget than Stephen had, and he had players who were dominating games in Europe. I watched the Zenit game when they were playing in Tala, and they dominated possession. So I don't see why they can't. I watched the Bate game in Tala. They dominated possession. So if a team like Dundalk is able to dominate possession against high-quality teams in Europe, why can't Ireland?
Yeah, and it's something that the FAI have in their grassroots. You see all these academies and all the younger football clubs coming through now. They're coaching them. They play football, but yet whenever it seems to come to the senior level, it just seems to let them down. As you say, like they could be doing more as a whole, the FAI, to keep that going, and in years to come, it might not work automatically straight away, but in 5 years' time, as you say, like Ireland could be a team where you could fill the Aviva every week because they're playing good football. They might not always get the one, but as long as people are playing the right way, it'll encourage people to come out.
Well, let's hope. With playing underneath Stephen, that's the way he liked playing. He liked playing attractive football, but he also liked to win. Also, he didn't fear any team. You've seen his under 21 teams. when they were playing in even in that Toulon tournament. You know, they tried their best against a very high quality position against Brazil, and they lost 2-0. But it was a good game to watch.
Yeah,
They
I
tried to
watched
play
that
the
myself.
right. They tried to play the right way. Even games they won, the games they won in that tournament, they were playing the right way, and I think that's the way, you know, Ireland need to be playing now for the future, because that's the way international football is being played. You know, if you look back in our games in Europe, we were winning games 1-0. I mean, in if you look back games that Ireland played in, you know, in the qualifiers, in the European qualifiers, they're winning games 1-0. They're beating San Marino or whoever it was, Gibraltar, one of them, 1-0. Like, that's not good enough, in my opinion. You know,
That's definitely.
we should be able to dominate teams like that, and we should be able to hold our own at home and keep the ball better, and, you know, play a better, attractive style of football. And I think Stephen will bring that to the country. You've seen it with the under-21s. You've seen it with Dundalk. You know, there's a lot of young, like you said, young prospect coming into Irish underage football. So you'll see in the next couple of years, I think Stephen will need time, but you'll see in the next couple of years that, you know, Ireland should be playing better football.
I can imagine that for the start of Stephen's managerial campaign, that the Aviva will be more filled than it would have been in maybe Martin's time, where they weren't playing attractive football, because people know that Stephen's going to need time, but they know what he's all about, because, as you say, they've seen it in the League of Ireland, you know, with Dundalk, even going as far back as Derry, or, you know,
Yeah.
Derry went on a great cup run way back whenever
Yeah, I
they beat
see.
the likes of Gretna and things like that. So he has proven, and I think, as you say, it just needs time, and I hope that in the future, now in the next couple of years, that, you know, the Aviva will be full and people will get behind Stephen and the FAA and try and get Irish football out there again.
Yeah, I'd like to hope so. You know, Stephen he's the best manager I played underneath, and he's very good at what he does. He's very good getting the best out of his players. So I like to think he'll do that with Ireland, and I think Ireland will prosper from it, and it'll be better for fans' perspective as well, watching a good game of football. Simple as.
Definitely. League of Ireland. What's your favourite ground to play at?
My favourite ground. Geez,
Apart from Dundalk itself, now.
Yeah, there's a few. I like playing in Tala. You know, Tala's a lovely. You know, the pitch is always immaculate when you play on the pitch. It's, you know, it's a perfect pitch, to be honest with you. I think if Dundalk had a grass pitch like that, I think us as players would be 10 times better, to be honest. And I love playing at Cork. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love the ground, how tight the ground is. The pitch is always decent as well. The crowd's always on your back, and I just love stuff like that. And that's another pitch. That's another ground I really love playing at.
Is there a ground in the league where you kind of think, oh, geez, I have to trek?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Finn Harps. Every player would lie if they said, you know, that they like going up to Finn Harps, but you have to deal with it. You know, you're in for a battle straight away. You know the pitch isn't going to be great at all. Might look great in camera, but I'm telling you one thing, it is not.
It's very wet.
Oh, it's a bog, really, to be honest with you. It's very bumpy. You can't play, you know, good style of football, but, you know, if you go there with the right mentality, you'll get a result, and that's what happened this year, actually. We scored early. We went with the right mentality, you know, win your battles. It's not going to be pretty, but, you know, you just have to get through it and win the game of football. And, you know, we done it with Ferries the last time we played Finn Harps. They always normally make it very, very difficult to win games there.
Yeah, like I've been at Finn Park a few times in the Brandywell and that, and like if you think you're a good footballer and you can just turn up, by God, if you get a cold, wet Monday night in Finn Park, it's definitely going to test your mettle.
Yeah, it did. It was last season. They were 1-0 up. They scored from a corner set piece, and it's the worst start. The pitch was brought in 4 yards, some 5 yards or something. It was tight. We couldn't play. It was wind. It was rain. The pitch was bobbly. It was like a tractor drove through it. they went 1-0 up, and we were like, oh my God, here we go. And then luckily enough, we scored. Garland scored from a corner in the 75th minute, I think, and it ended 1-1, but we had chances to win the game in the end. But Genie, they made it really tough for us that night. Very tough.
And what do you think of the Brandywell now with all the work that's received recently?
I think the Brandywell is a lovely ground. If the facilities, the dressing rooms are probably one of the best in the league. The pitch, I used to say the pitch was very good at the start, but I don't think it's been well maintained, if I'm going to be honest with you. At the start, the ball was like traveling very, very well. But now, if you catch it on a dry day, it's not great. It's a bit like our own. Get it on a dry day, it's not great. I remember playing up in the Brandywell the first season. I think they got it done, and it was a dry day, but the ball was still moving because they were brushing it quite regularly. And but there've been a lot of games played on the Brandywell because they share it with the Institute, is it?
Yeah, they share it with Stuart. Yeah.
Yeah, so the pitch is not as good as it used to be. And that sounds mad. I know that sounds crazy because it's an AstroTurf pitch, and you might be thinking, what am I talking about? But there is a difference when the pitch is actually brushed. It raises up the
wee rubber balls,
artificial grass, and the balls, and the ball moves a lot better. Now it's kind of like bobbling around the place.
Yeah, that's as you
but
say.
It's a lovely ground. They from what I remember to now, it's a lovely ground.
Like Astro pitches do need a lot of maintaining to keep them really like it's more like a spring in your step because you need that wee bounce in the Astro.
Yeah, people always say that with those that have been on the Astro because we're used to it and all this. I can tell you right now, if you went through our whole team, probably staff too, we'd love to be. We play better on grass.
Yeah,
we do. If you see us away from home, we play way better on grass. Our football's more fluent when we play away. So if teams, it's actually bad for us when we're playing on like a day like today when it's dry. It's very hard to get our pitch fully watered. We don't really have a proper sprinkler in place, and even if that, it still dries out, and it actually makes the game more even. And I found that playing in the last couple of years when it was quite dry, it makes games quite even because the bounce of the ball doesn't travel as well, and it kind of slows us down more than anything else.
Pat, were you with Dundalk whenever they played Derry and McGinn Park and Buncrana now? It was a couple of seasons ago, I'm not sure now.
When they played again. Is that like senior level? Is that like...
I know, it's the time that they were getting the Brandywell done up.
No, I wasn't there. I was in the UK. I
was going to say, cause that would be our local pitch, like, and the work that went into that pitch over the years, like if you would have seen it 15, 20 years ago compared to what it is now, like the youth growing up have got a fantastic setup, like now to play on. Like.
No, I remember watching a few games, just through Soccer Republic, really, highlights online and stuff like that, and it did look well, to be fair.
It definitely they maintained it really well now. Ryan, do you have anything?
Yeah. Pat, you went from Finn Park to Wembley. What was that like?
Genie, Wembley's the biggest pitch I've ever played on in my life. It's actually bigger than Aviva. Well, I think it is bigger than Aviva. Aviva is huge. I don't know why it's so big. I don't know why it's been big this last couple of years because we don't really, retain the ball. So I don't know why Ireland were playing such a big pitch. Wembley was massive. Turning up, I remember I came on for like 15 minutes that day, and I think I'd done about 4 runs, and I complete dry mouth, and I felt like I was covering feck all ground, to be honest with you, because the pitch was just huge. But I'm telling you, the surface is the best I've ever played on, ever. Immaculate. That day we played there, it was immaculate. Not a blade of grass out of place.
Would you say the Aviva has a better atmosphere maybe than Wembley would have?
Yeah, it probably does. I didn't get to play Wembley in a full ground, so it's very hard for me to call. I think there was only 20 Grimsby brought a good crowd. They brought like 18,000 down, I think, and the team we were playing was only Forest Green, so I think they only brought a couple of thousand. So there was only about 20 odd thousand in the ground. So 20 odd thousand and what, an 80,000 seater stadium is not going to be great, like. So it's very hard to judge that. I got to play in Aviva with, what was it, 38,000 or something it was, and that was great atmosphere. I loved it. Could barely breathe when they put out the smoke bombs. The Dundalk fans, when they were putting out the smoke bombs, I could barely breathe when we scored. Remember when we scored to make it 2-1? Fat scored. I could barely breathe when they threw out those smoke bombs.
And remember that night in 2014 when we won the league against Cork? That for me will probably be in my top 5 all-time moments.
1,000,000%. It's probably it's right up there of one of the best memories for me in football. You know, we were cruising in the league. We were doing quite well, and we drew a couple of stupid games, and then, you know, I scored that kind of last minute goal against Bray the game before, and it kind of set up the tie. We weren't able to draw. We had to win. A draw would have done it for them. And the atmosphere that night was incredible, and winning it the way we did was incredible. That's another thing that night I'll never forget as well. Stephen Kenny at half time. We came in at half time and we were frustrated to bits. We were kind of getting angry at ourselves. We were getting quite annoyed. We weren't playing as well as we wanted to. And Stephen came in and he just sat down like he was one of the players and just calmed us all down. It was amazing being there, and even looking back now, it was just incredible. He's like, okay, relax, telling us all to relax. We're going to win this game. I'm going to tell you how, blah, blah, blah. And just calmed us all down. We went out, we're totally different animals. Completely. Bossed the game in the second half and deservedly won. If we didn't win the league that day, it would have been awful, because we would have thrown it away, and the papers were labelling us bottlers leading up to it and all, and it wouldn't have been great for us if we didn't win the league that day, because we deserved to win the league through the course of this whole season, and thankfully we got the job done.
Donald coming back from injury and scoring that night as well just added.
So it just adds to the story, doesn't it? Right. Stephen coming back, and then unfortunately Shields again injured that night, and then Higgy coming in, and we're still able to play good football, and it was a brilliant night. Everyone in that group of players played their part that year. Everyone did, and which was great to see. Also, the whole squad played their part, and it was just a great year.
We got to celebrate then, man, big pitch invasion after the game.
Yeah. It was brilliant. The excitement for everyone, because it was how many years until Dundalk won one? It was, what was it, 20-something years or something? Then they won the league, or was it longer? Or
I think it was 19.
Yeah, so it was just great, like just great to win it, to celebrate it with everyone. It was just an incredible feeling. Definitely something I won't forget.
I'd say there's plenty more of them nights to come anyway.
Hopefully we definitely have a good squad there in place. You know, Rovers have a great squad, which is great to see. You've Derry are always building. Bohemians always have good young talent coming through. So, you know, it'll be tight this year when hopefully if it goes back. But I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Just going to throw like a quick fire questions at you, Pat. It's just that, you know, an either or kind of one. It's just about a crack. We're going to do it at the end of most of them today. Game of Thrones or Peaky Blinders?
Peaky Blinders.
Robbie Keane or Niall Quinn?
Niall Quinn.
Stephen Kenny, Mick McCarthy?
Stephen Kenny.
Brandywell or Turner's Cross?
Oh, Turner's Cross.
Darts or snooker?
Snooker. That was a tough one, by the way.
BMW or Audi?
Oh, Audi.
Indian or Chinese?
Oh, I hate Chinese. Indian.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
People are going to raise their eyebrows at the Niall Quinn one, aren't they?
I'd say so.
I just going to that one. I just love, you know, he was now number 9, really, wasn't he? And his general play was just brilliant. It was great watching him. He done a lot more than just score goals. He used to bring players into the game, and that sometimes that wins you games, getting you up the pitch, and he was so good at it.
Yeah. That's just something we're doing for a bit of crack along at the end.
A lot of eyebrows raised at that one.
Just relax.
Right, well,
That's us finished. Well, that wraps up another episode in our podcast marathon for the Irish Cancer Society. If you would like to help us reach our goal, the link to donate will be in the description of this video below. Pat, many thanks for coming on. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you on, and we wish you the very best of luck for when the football season gets back going.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Make sure everyone donates, and thank you for having me, because I will. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.